And welcome back. Thanks for waiting, guys. We are still watching and still commentating the UAC Season 3 Wild Rift, and we're back after my predictions got wrong. um, we are back with CPU, Central Philippine University Radiant versus University of Santo Tomas Teletigers. So both of these are from very prestigious orgs. Of course, Teletigers, they don't need any introduction. And the Golden Lions as well, that's from CPU, had a very good run last season. We'll be your shoutcasters for this one. I'm Hiron. With me is Kobe. And yeah, this is going to be a very interesting match. The only people that predicted CP were me and Dash. Everyone else believed in the Teletigers, the prestige of that organization.
Yeah, well, I had Teletigers as well for no apparent reason. It's not because I'm from UST, but yeah, these are two teams. These are two teams that know what they're capable of, and like you mentioned, they're both from very prestigious organizations. So it's gonna be fun to watch them. It's gonna
Mhm.
be exciting things from both teams, and I think we're up for a really good matchup from South Tigers and from Radiant.
hmm And if you look at the history of the two teams here, the rosters for CPU, Radiant, and Teletigers now aren't drastically different from before. Like we still have Tohage, we still have Wisdomus on the side of uh, Golden Lions, or rather Radiant for this one, and Teletigers still has like Shoti. In the previous season, let me double check the playoffs for UAC season 2. Yeah, CPU Golden Lions was able to 3-0 UST, but UST is a very prestigious org in the sense that they have the infrastructure, they have the organizational capacity to train up talent and bring out the best in them, right? So I guess a lot of the casters and a lot of the fans, of course, out there are believing in this roster to have been trained hard by the Teletigers dynasty, I guess you could say. Meanwhile, CPU still a very still a very solid roster.
Right. When you pick Tell Tigers, it's like picking the Lakers or the Celtics in
Mm-hmm.
terms of basketball references. And there's just that hanging thing that they have to them
Mm-hmm.
that oh, Tell Tigers, they're probably gonna win this.
The name has
So
weight, right?
yeah, there's weight
Mm-hmm.
to their name. But again, CPU, as we've seen throughout the season two, they're a team that is very competitive. They're a team who, as you said, swept out Tigers from last season. So they're looking to make it 4-0 from one season to the other. And I think Tell Tigers is looking to break that streak tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is going to be a very exciting match for all of us today. I hope you guys are enjoying the stream. Of course, we're going to load in very very soon. But of course, we are streaming on FB on AcadArena. On AcadArena's Facebook page is fb.com/AcadArenaGG. We're also streaming on twitch.tv/AcadArenaPH, and also is co-streaming the stream as well. So what's up, Rabenga? The Rabang God. Let's go into this draft so far. Let's see what the first ban is with blue side on CPU and UST on the red side here. That is going to be an immediate Lulu ban here against Shoti and Yani.
Yeah, I think Lulu is a good band because she just synergizes well with a ton of different champions. Any hyper carry you pair up with Lulu, that's probably going to be end game, right? So that's a good band. Lee Sin not getting the light anymore for another game,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a pick that we've seen throughout the entire tournament, at least for today. And it's a very, how would you say, it's a very tricky pick.
Yeah, it's a nasty pick. Very
Yeah.
hotly contested in pro play, like ESL, C Icon, and that's because of the versatility, right? You can go for engages. You can deal a lot of damage early before transitioning into an engage bot later in the game. And with how fast that Wild Rift games are, Lee Sin doesn't really get the the same problem he has in League PC, where he just falls off completely after a certain point and is only good for Dragon's Rage, right? This time, he can actually leverage that. So he's going to get banned, Riven, and Camille banned as well. Let's see if Fiora or Irelia get banned in the first rotation, and who day. We might be seeing a priority pick here from Tokage. We're going to have to see, though.
Yeah, Zig's another Another champion that is obviously very annoying to match up with. The damage that he deals after he gets like first two items is just extremely disgusting, and it's just gonna be a headache to go up
Mhm.
against in any game. Nunu now might get some life
Nunu.
here.
Yeah, we might finally see a Nunu that actually works out. Like coming in from CP Wisdomus. If you look at his champion pool from the previous season, but of course it's many patches ago, but it's like Olaf, Lee Sin, Gragas, Camille, Rengar, Jarvan, right? Nunu is a new addition, of course. And I'm very excited to see how he's going to play this, how much he's going to deny Milo his jungle. Meanwhile, we've got the Teletigers here bringing out the Nami, bringing out the Renekton. A pretty decent counter swing here for the red side, but this does open up like what? Fiora? Fiora and Irelia for Tokuga here.
Yeah, and I think the Nami and the Renekton pick is really good on for the Teletiger side because that's going to be a lot of engages and a lot of sustain
Mm-hmm.
from the Teletigers.
Ooh,
Lucian coming
Lucian.
up here for CPU. I like that pick.
Oh,
That's a pick that's very mobile and ADC that's
Lucian
very
Rakan.
mobile.
I'm liking this. I'm liking this. We see Dux at his best when he's playing something that's very close, I don't want to say that term, like to the wall, right? He's like driving you up to the wall with a short range marksman like Lucian or Kaisa, supported by a very aggressive support, which usually ends up being like Alistar or even an aggressive Braum. But Fearless is not his support this season. It's going to be Renzar. And it seems like Renzar prefers the Rakan. TF is going to get picked up, was banned a lot earlier. We're finally going to see it come through here. And now begins the second phase of bans.
Right. TF is another champion that we didn't really see much of, if any, in
Mm-hmm.
the past. I think we saw him like for one or two games, but yeah,
Yeah.
just the global presence that he has throughout the map. Again, because the map is so small, it's so easy to pick champions like Galio, like TF, who have that presence and can just jump in from one side of the map to the other. So I think that's a good pick. Will it be
Mm-hmm.
enough to help out sorry to keep Nunu and Lucian at bay? We'll see throughout the game.
Mm-hmm. Kaisa gonna get banned here. Does not want an opposing marksman that can match the kind of close range, high caliber power that Lucian can bring. So it is gonna come through. The Corki is gonna get banned out here. Corki, pretty good mid lane as well, or could also be flexed here. This Lucian could be flexed as well, if that's what Teletigers is reading. But the Galio is gonna be a much more safe ban here against Shadow here. So it's gonna be the Ezreal ban here again. So they really want to make sure that Wisdomus has an okay laning fair so we can go aggressive without being heavily punished. But Tristana, of course, has a not as good as Arcane Shift, but it is really much better at punishing with the rocket jump on that Tristana. First Tristana we're seeing today.
Right. That rocket ship is is extremely useful, especially when you're trying to slither away from champions like Lucian. If they pick the Pantheon, that's also another stun that
Ooh.
Tristana can potentially avoid. They do go for the Fiora. Ultimately, CPU
There
does.
we go. The Tohage Classic. Give us that Fiora. Give us that carry top laner. And are we going to be seeing? Okay, we're going to be seeing a Zed here. Seems fitting that his name is Shadow as he slithers into the night here with that Zed pick. So this is telling us that CPU wants to go in, and that is very characteristic of the CPU that we saw in the previous season of UAC Wild Rift, where a lot of their comps would be just absolutely bonkers in in their aggression, like Alistar, Kaisa with Galio, and of course in the jungle top side we'll have like Fiora, Camille, Jarvan. This is a very correct. This is a very CPU comp here. Meanwhile, Teletigers, this seems to be a very by the book, very standard, very well-rounded comp here.
Yep, and I think with Teletigers, like you mentioned, it is a well-rounded comp. But if CPU can make the most of their picks and just really scale into this game, I think Teletigers are in for a tough matchup
Mhm.
here. Especially if you feed that Lucian and Lucian starts to snowball.
Mhm.
I would pick Lucian nine times out of 10 against Tristana. But yeah, I think this is a gonna be a tough match. But I think I'm lingering towards CPU a little bit more than I am
Mhm.
with Tele Tigers.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm a little bit favored towards CPU as well. I did predict that they would be the one to win this game of the group stage round robin, but UST's comp is very well rounded, right? They have a very good early game in the Renekton and the Xinjiao, and I do not want to face off the Renekton or rather the Xinjiao. Like for example, hanging around Drake, invading around bot side, and say Shoti and Yani have priority. A Xinjiao with the help of an enchanter and enchanter healer is going to be tough to take down early.
Right, and we're kicking it off here with game number I would say four now for Division A. USD Tele Tigers versus CPU Golden Lions. This is gonna be fun, Hyron, and we
Mm-hmm.
are kicking things off now at the mid lane.
Yeah, cat fight here, Lions versus Tigers, and y'all. I know all of you are fans of both of these teams, or you're fans in these schools as well. So just share the stream as well. Thank you, Hana Baldissimo, for the 10 stars for the stream as well. Looks like we're going to be seeing a little bit of contesting in the mid lane to really get that early push out to for freedom of movement.
Yeah, we also see here on the stream someone says Noah Legaspi says wala na TF Lazuli na. So let's keep a close eye out on that and see how Lazuli picks up on his Twisted Fate tier.
Yeah, I mean Lazuli, TF. We did see it in one of their games previous season. I think it was against CPU, but he has been practicing the TF a lot, and I do think he's going to be giving us a good show here as well as the rest of the UST roster. We're going to have to see how this all plays out. This this Baron lane is playing out as expected, where this Renekton is building up an early lead that the Fiora can potentially contest back with the help of their jungler, but Milo right around the corner forces the honey fruit as well. So, whew, okay, level 3 now. Should be easy to get back against that Renekton. But top lane priority being taken by Lazuli.
Right, and some counter jungling here from Milo, taking that blue buff away from we see an engage here on the bottom lane very
God.
early.
Yeah, very early. Going for that aggression. That's the CPU we know and love. He tries to go and jump in, finish the job against Ducks, does finish it off with a sliver of HP, but here comes Shadow with those heals and the bleed. That's going to be enough for him to be taken out. That was very close, but in the end, that's a 2-for-1 in favor of them, and Tokugi escapes the gang topside, which means this is in favor of CPU Radiant from the Golden Lions. Let's like going to replay Kobe. Not that one.
This one, yeah. Early engage from CPU does get the kill on the Nami, so that removes any form of sustain that Tristana is looking to vie for. Tristana is very, very low on HP, but manages to slither away. But the Zed just does come up there. Shadow creeping up on the Tristana, just taking that kill.
Sulit na sulit yung keystone ni not the keystone, yung runes ni Shoti doon being able to survive, get that triumph. Even the Conqueror helped them out there as well. Ducks. This is the problem at this point of the laning where if Renzar and Tokuge, before the quickness is unlocked here for Renzar at level 5, they don't really have an in towards Shoti because the Grand Entrance can just get jumped out of.
Right, and again, if you're a Shoti now, you want to make sure that you're not caught up in that position again. I mean, he did jump to a very awkward position right in the middle of the Lucian and the Rakan instead of just going towards near the tower. So using that rocket jump is gonna be important for him to make sure that he's in the right positions and not in another awkward position than he was earlier in that first skirmish.
It's a rated Dirk Caulfield's Warhammer scary. So Shadow can potentially solo kill Azuli if he's not careful. Forcing him out already because he knows he can threaten, poke him out. He's already pushing him in, forcing Lazuli to make a decision. Will he stick around? Will he recall after this? Shadows, of course, is gonna support. Oh, this is how you use this Nunu. You take priority with your lanes so the Nunu can counter jungle. So basically the blue buff that was taken earlier has now been taken back. The blue buff is going to spawn as well. Let's see if Milo picks that up once again. But the Drake is going to spawn here. That's going to be the destiny to try and make sure that they know where CPU is. Does not go for the Rift Herald just yet. Threatened out by the snowball.
Yeah, when you see that snowball coming, you just have this act of just retreating. CPU did have the Ocean Drake free to them, but they wanted to go for the Rift Herald first, and now it looks like Teletigers are going for that Ocean Drake. Nuno's taking some time there on that Rift Herald. Let's see how
And
it
of
goes
course,
for this team fight.
yeah, this is the only way UST can take objectives like this, is to make sure that they try to take them before the Nunu arrives. But here comes the rest of CPU. That's going to be the Crescent Guard here for Milo, tanking a lot of damage, but I think he's going to get finished off by the Death Mark. Yes, indeed. Meanwhile, Wisdomus is going to be frontlining for his team. Lots of damage from an explosive shot. Oh, that small bit of heal. He's going to try and finish off this Nunu. He is going to be able to get the reset off. Oh, jumping over to Wisdomus now. Can he make it? No, it's just going to be a 2-for-1. But Teletigers also gets the Ocean Drake on top of that. So that is pretty much even for both teams, with UST being a little bit ahead. Look at this.
Yeah. Yeah, and Nunu came in a little bit late. He also got even more delayed there when Nami threw that tidal wave. So great execution here from Teletigers. They did go home with the Ocean Drake, so that is going to be big for them, and that is going to help them scale into the late game even more. They do not get the Rift Herald though, so CPU does have an opportunity here to take a tower in this game. First tower.
Yeah, they do have that opportunity. It did go to Wisdomus. It can go. None of the towers are really in a position to get insta-gibbed by Shelly, so they're going to have to set that up with, say, a dive or a poke-out game here from CPU. Most likely, if it's CPU, they're going to try and go for a dive to summon that Rift Herald here. Could go for bot lane. Does seem like they're posturing here. The vision is there for them. Mid lane is also an option here. Push out Lazuli, but it's going to be a little bit harder. But how Shadow's moving, though, yep, it's going to be the bot lane here, most likely. And let's see what UST tries to trade back for that. The blue buff, a top lane kill. Seems like UST is satisfied with just giving the top lane away and trying to dive topside.
Yeah, and USD is comfortable with this because Fiora is in an awkward spot here. Does get flashed there by the Twisted Fate.
Gonna get an easy dive here. The wind becomes lightning, does not, in fact, connect. Tokage has the riposte ready. So this is just gonna be both laners on opposite sides of the map getting pushed out in order to facilitate the turret take. But of course here, they're gonna trade towers. They're gonna have to recall. The mid lane is gonna be under duress. So this is gonna get taken relatively quickly here, especially with a blood rush on the Nunu. So this is actually a pretty good maneuver by CPU. Keeps the gold even at this point. It opens up the map for themselves because it is mid lane.
Yeah, it wasn't obviously the trade that UST was looking for. They thought they were getting a 1-for-1, but now they do give up the mid lane and the bottom lane now. So that's going to be tough. That's an objective that you're not obviously going to be able to get back. But for UST, I think the important part here is that they still have that first objective, which is the Ocean Drake. That's an extremely powerful Drake, especially when you get it to the late game. Map. When you get that map, it's going to be helpful in the late game. So yeah, but Shelly is just very useful, right? Was very useful to CPU.
Here, Wisdom is going to try and see if he can contest that blue buff. Doesn't get it, but he has been able to pressure against the Xinjiao. But so far, I want to see more. Now that the kind of counter jungling phase is over here for them, where it's mostly just them clearing their own camps. I want to see this Nunu really shine in these skirmishes in the choke points where you can use the absolute zero to facilitate the kills for Tokage, Shadow, and Dux, and also bring that extra bit of damage for them. Rift Herald and Mountain Drake both gonna spawn very, very soon. It's gonna be Kaiser. He does have a Dominus and a lot of Rage, though. Missing with a Grand Entrance, that's going to cancel the gank completely. No momentum left, forces the recall, but then CP will have position over the Rift Herald.
You can see from the itemization from Teletigers, they're really trying to be a little bit more tanky. You see Sterax gauge on the Xinjiao.
Dangerous starting of the Grand Entrance. Bardagulan dito sa Rift Herald ang mangyayari. That's gonna be a lot of damage. Crescent Guard blocking a lot of damage here from Dux. That means that Shodi can actually go for it, but Tokage goes in, riposte against 3, jumps over the wall. He's gonna get Audacious Charge, and he's going to die for the rest of his team. The Rift Herald, though, it's just gonna be a 2-for-1 trade. And I do think if we can go back to the items, but no, it's gonna be the mountain. Oh, it seems like Milo did secure the Rift Herald there, so the Mountain Drake is gonna be next on the chopping block. Wisdom is still alive. No flash though, so can't go for the flash consume. It is gonna be very, very tough. He does have this in his pocket, but he's not able to steal it a little bit too late, and now he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. Even with a snowball, even with a flash failing to block it, he's still gonna get the kill. And UST in a good spot. Now they can trade back mid lane, and Tohoge, he's gonna have to defend this by his lonesome here, and stunned. You're gonna really going for the turrets here, gonna get knocked up by Shelly there and gets killed. US CPU not looking good for him. Uh-oh. Gonna try and take out Milo. Oh, don't want to do that. He's got the healing to survive that, but that second tier turret going down, a 5k gold lead. Bot lane gonna go down to the Renekton as well. Let's break this down. What went wrong here for CPU?
Well, that was a great engage from the Rakan, but unfortunately, just that there was so much sustain and so much damage being dished out there by the Tristana as well for UST side. So it was unfortunate for CPU, but this is a chance now for UST to build up on those last two objectives that they did just get and try to push more things. But they did get some very important objectives with the Rift Herald, the Mountain Drake, and then getting the mid lane turret, the second mid lane turret. So that leaves just one last tower now for the mid lane of CPU.
Mm-hmm. And this is a 5k gold lead. And with this kind of composition, we saw earlier how Shadow got a few good kills here, but USC's been doing a good job at avoiding him, right? Not letting this Zed snowball any further. 2-0-1 was good at like 4 minutes, 5 minutes, but at 10, 11 minutes, it's not really working for him. And he can't actually duel Shoti here at this point without, of course, because the Xinjiao and the Nami right around the corner, so good on him, he's able to get out of dodge. Still though, UST in the driver's seat, and we see that the Milo's Crescent Guard is going to be absolutely crucial at making sure that Dux's DPS is as low as possible for as long as possible.
Yeah, and also a big shout out here. Or it looks like
I guess he's just dead here. I don't know where Lazuli was going, but that's one kill that they didn't need to give up. And see, there's not really any cost to that other than golden XP.
Yeah, that was a awkward position for Lazuli, and unfortunately, UST does give up that kill. But big props to Yanni though for protecting Shoti very well in this matchup. You know, Zed is very tricky to guard, obviously, but she's been managing to throw those bubbles in the right place and throw her tidal waves in the right place as well to make sure that the Shoti doesn't get too irritated by that Zed, because Shoti is obviously a big focal point for UST's damage, especially in this game.
And this is very characteristic of Shoti, right? Having a very safe hyper carry like, say, what were his picks in the previous season? He picked up, of course, a lot of Tristana, mostly Tristana actually. Some Kaisa and some Corki, but mostly on that Tristana is where his comfort lies. Being very, very safe even against assassins. It's a UST Wild Rift classic at this point. And really, CPU just needs that one team fight where either Tohige or Shadow just pop off against low health targets. But the thing is, it's so hard because of Yanni and Milo. Milo does so much mitigation just by the Crescent Guard. It means that that's one big area where Dux is like has to go through the Xinjiao and while not dealing damage, which is a big loss of DPS for CPU.
Yeah, and you talked about Milo. Milo has been doing a great job of engaging here and picking the right spots for his team. 10 seconds right now before the next Drake comes up. It is going to be the Cloud Drake. So that is definitely one thing that CPU wants to get, I would say, but it's something that USC Tall Tigers is not going to be giving up anytime soon.
You know, as long as they don't lose the Elder Infernal, they should be fine. Ren's okay. Just kind of like walking in front of Milo here. Wind becomes lightning. Audacious charge. In comes Shoti for the damage onto Renzer. Trying to hold that flash as much as possible, but it's not just gonna happen. Shoti's just gonna clean up, and CPU was not ready. The exhaust is perfect coming in from Yanni, and Wisdom was trying to do as much as he can with the absolute zero trades 2 for 3, but without a jungler, this Cloud is gonna go. They're gonna try and
Yeah,
disrupt this.
looks like they're gearing towards a little bit, but look at this damage here from Shotty. Just walking into that barrage of shots from the Lucian, but taking none of it. I mean, not really feeling a lot of it, and then taking out the Rakan
Tap.
ultimately, and then Nunu coming in right there to finally
Okay.
give Shotty the boot.
They tried, but they couldn't really do anything. The good thing is that Shadow didn't die at that point. Yeah, that's what we're seeing so far, and the culling with this kind of build with Static Shiv, Essence Reaver, and Charge Blade, culling does like nothing. So even against Shoti, and especially so. He really needs to be in a position where he can auto attack, right? Use the Solar Charge Blade to his full advantage. If Dux is not in a position to do that, Shoti takes over the team fight.
Right, and I think with Dux, he's been in some very weird positions. He was in a good position there to try to limit Shotty, but Shotty just a little bit too much in front
Mm-hmm.
to just really ignore the damage that he's been dishing out. And yeah, itemization has been pretty good for both sides, but you just got to make the most of what you have right now, and then what the other team is really giving you at this point.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, as long as CPU doesn't give up either Baron or Elder Infernal, he should still be able to eke out a win with good micro. And proper macro setup and good teamfight execution is gonna be their lifeline here against UST. A Baron's gonna get threatened by UST. They don't really have a lot of vision there. This could easily get threatened by Shoti here, who's reaching that 4 item point.
Right, and I totally agree with you. I don't think CPU is down for the count here, unless they give up one of those major objectives, though. But when you look at just their comp and the itemization that they're at, what are we at now? A 4K gold lead,
Mm-hmm.
which feels more because USC has kind of been just popping off the past few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I think CPU is in an okay spot.
Ooh,
You
BT.
get one good engage, especially with that Rakan initiate, and then just Nunu popping out of nowhere. Then that's gonna
Ooh,
be a tough spot for USC.
beat even with a 4K though, BT I think is the end, not really the ender here, but it's gonna make CPU not. They absolutely cannot take any 5v5s. They have to do a 1-3-1 split push with the Zed and the Fiora, and try to avoid team fights with a 3 in the middle, which is what they're doing here. Yeah, like that. Just as soon as any trouble comes up, just get the hell out of there. Is the name of the game here, because
Yeah,
they cannot fight this BT with just the having to go for Mortal Reminder here compared to the BT is so much less value here compared to what Shoti's getting out of that BT, which now has crit.
yeah, and I think that's going to be very important. Trying to play safe as well for CPU side.
Mhm.
Obviously, trying to pick your positions and pick um, where you want to engage.
Mhm.
I think they're not. I know that obviously they know they're smart enough to know which spots they want to be in, and which spots they do not want to be in. And Fellow Tigers knows it as well. So they're just really trying to uh, pick off and wait until one of them uh, makes the wrong move.
And itemization is really easier for UST, right? Like, look at the Milo's build here. Because CPU is almost all physical. Oh, Milo. Oh, no, Renzer's gonna go
Oh,
down without having a chance to fully utilize his ulti. Once again, as long as CPU Radiant doesn't lose the Elder Infernal, they should be fine. If they give this up, that's a huge setback. And
yeah.
Teletigers knows that. Teletigers know, no, that's gonna be a bubble. That's gonna be a dead. Wisdom was right there, exhausted on the Lucian. Sheesh,
Oh,
that's gonna
done.
be Shodi just taking over these fights, and I think this is game. Even if it's not game, even if they don't end it right here, I think this is the point, the breaking point for CPU where UST just takes over with Shodi too much. That's a quadra coming through, and that's classic Shodi right there from the Teletigers.
Yeah, that was free practice by Shoddy. That was free throws. That was open
Well, they're
3
gonna
point
end.
shot,
Actually,
and it
gonna
looks like
end.
they're gonna end it here.
Oh, my predictions are down the drain, and UST gets some revenge here against CPU Golden Lions Radiant as they take this away in the round robin of the group stage. Very well earned victory. Very well earned. Shoti took over. The CPU squad wasn't in the same form. Wasn't in the same finals form as the CPU squad from the previous season. Teletigers, like I said, they've got the infrastructure. They've got they've got the foundations of an organization that can really squeeze out the most talent out of their roster.
Yeah, and also they have this guy playing Tristana. Shotty was just stellar here, just picking off everyone that he saw
Yeah.
and making everything feel like an open practice. Like he was just getting free hits here and there.
Hmm.
Obviously, he was being kept safe by his teammates. Great itemization from the Shin Zhao, making sure that he's tanky enough to
Hmm.
create those engages and create opportunities for Shotty to go in and to just just peel through everyone.
Hmm.
Great stuff from Teletigers and great
Yeah.
uh, defense as well from CPU. They held this off for a long time.
Yeah, excited to see how CPU can bounce back for the rest of the group stage. Excited to see how Teletigers is gonna keep progressing and getting better, right? But of
Yeah.
course, I'm excited to see what the next matches will have as well. We just like to thank our sponsors for a little bit. Of course, Globe Telecom, our official telco sponsor, Logitech G, our official gaming gear partner, and Twitch Student, our platform partner. Both of these teams are very prestigious, or come from very prestigious organizations, right? So Golden Lions, Teletigers, they're part of the program, So if you want to bring esports to your school, the AcadArena Alliance program is here for you. Alliance member clubs get access to exclusive tournaments, mentorship, event support, and of course the Globe Esports Merit Scholarship. Learn how to join the Alliance today at acadarena.com/alliance. And of course, thank you so much for watching. We'll be back with more Division A action after a very short break. I'm Hiron. With me was Kobe. We'll be back after a short break.
See you guys.
Manong Fishball ang tawag sa kanya. Everyday siya kung dumating. Kaya parang institusyon na siya dito sa area namin. Minsan, sobrang late na. Andun pa rin si Manong Fishball.
Ginagabi kayo, Manong!
Enrollment eh.
After some time, yung karito ni Manong Fishball nadagdagan ng may bike.
Hanggang kabilang kalye, nagtitinda na rin kayo, Manong?
Ang notebook.
Sunod na taon, pati menu nadagdagan.
Nax, may squid balls na!
Mahal kasi ang lapis. May kikyaw pa dyan.
Bilib na bilib ako kay Manong Fishball. Akalain mong yung maliit niyang kariton, napalaki niya ng ganon? Ang nagagawa nga naman ng pangarap ng isang magulang.
Manong, anong grade na ba yung anak nyo?
Tagal nang tapos sa mga bata.